I don't know what to say.
Alonso goes through.
The breaking news here, Carlos Sainz has an appendicitis. He will not be taking part this weekend. Welcome to the land down under. F1 is in Melbourne and the beautiful Albert Park is our backdrop for the Australian Grand Prix.
I feel ready. I've done as much as possible to recover, and you cannot imagine the effort and the logistics and things that I've done to be fit for this race. Progress, I'm very happy with all the progress I've made, and now, as I said, it's time to jump in the car and see how I feel.
And Formula One is underway in Melbourne. Good reaction time at the front of the field for Carlos Sainz, but his path is blocked by Max Verstappen, who has the lead. These two started life in Formula One together at Toro Rosso, and they're about to go wheel to wheel. You're watching a Ferrari take the lead of the Grand Prix. Carlos Sainz, first opportunity offered up, first opportunity taken, and the man who didn't race in the last round leads in round 3. What a performance, what a comeback, a Ferrari 1-2, headed by Carlos Sainz.
This is amazing.
A wet Donington bore witness to one of Senna's greatest ever single laps. Starting 4th on the grid for the 1993 European Grand Prix, a difficult start saw him drop a place to a young Michael Schumacher. But the Brazilian maestro then displayed all of his wet weather mastery.
And Ayrton Senna is up to 4th position ahead of Schumacher and challenging Wendlinger as they go round the right-hander into the old hairpin. Senna is up to 3rd.
And by turn 7, he had overtaken Damon Hill for 2nd. Then he slithered inside Prost and muscled his way through into a lead he would not relinquish.
I've done it, he says. Out comes the fist of victory.
Driving with slicks in damp and really slippery conditions was tremendous effort, because you just don't get the feeling from the car.
Vettel wasn't fazed, and by setting his times early, he was on provisional pole. Only Massa could spoil his afternoon, but he only managed 6th, leaving Vettel to become the youngest driver to take pole position.
Vettel hits it, and away we go. We're racing at Monza. Sebastian Vettel leads a Grand Prix for the first time. What about Vettel? A 1:35.534 compared to Kovalainen 1:37.241. 1.7 seconds quicker. Tremendous performance by Vettel. He leads Kovalainen. Sebastian Vettel is a Grand Prix winner for the first time. He's the youngest ever, and that's one of the greatest things I've ever seen in Grand Prix racing.
You have won the Italian Grand Prix. You have won the Italian Grand Prix. Bravissimo. Impressionante. I don't know what to say. Grazie mille. Grazie mille.
I think it's for sure the best day of my life. I mean, these pictures, these emotions, I will never forget. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's so much better than you might think it is. It's great.
Hamilton's pace over a single lap is mind-blowing, and he holds the all-time qualifying record for F1 pole positions. Yet some laps still stand out, such as at Singapore in 2018. Hamilton arrived at Marina Bay with a car unsuited to the twisty, technical nature of the street circuit. Half a second off Vettel's best time heading into qualifying, he only narrowly avoided a disastrous Q1 exit.
Only a 39.4 for Lewis.
So if the cut-off's a 1:39.5 between success and failure, he is right on the cusp.
But as the British driver swung his Mercedes through the floodlit streets of Singapore on his first flying lap in Q3, he came alive. At one with his car, as he set the timing screens purple.
That one felt the most complete lap that I think I might have ever done. We did not expect that, no one expected that, and all of a sudden this lap, out of nowhere, it was just beautiful. It's just flowing, beautiful. It was like a dance. It was freaking awesome.
The clock stopped at 1 minute 36.015, over 3 seconds up on Vettel's pole time from the previous year.
In his 18th season of Formula One, Kimi Räikkönen proved at the 2020 Portuguese Grand Prix that when conditions are tricky, experience prevails. The Iceman started on soft tyres on a track which was low on grip and made up an incredible 10 positions in a dizzying opening lap. Picking off cars one by one, the veteran Finn showed all of his experience and talent to move up from 16th position to 6th by the start of the second lap. This was all in his Alfa Romeo C39, a car unable to fight for points on a regular basis. It was truly one of the greatest opening laps in F1 history, a textbook study for the racing drivers of the future.
Kimi Raikkonen is in another league right now. This is absolutely thrilling stuff at the start of the Portuguese Grand Prix.
After a first lap that saw all but Mass on wet tyres, the whole field changed to slicks. Lauda was behind a group of slower cars when he left the pits after his tyre change, and was making up for time lost when he went off the track, puncturing the Ferrari's fuel tank. Brett Lunger was unable to avoid the flaming wreck, but he was unhurt and joined with other drivers to rescue Lauda, who was taken to hospital with severe burns. There were fears for Lauda's life. The recovery of Lauda from injuries that had threatened his life had captured the attention of the world. Everyone was wondering whether he would be back in action at the next race in Italy, just 6 weeks after his accident. To the joy of the Italian fans, he was. Only 42 days after his accident at the Nürburgring, the Ferrari team leader was back on the track and had qualified ahead of his teammate, who was 9th. Lauda, slow at the start and running 12th at the end of the first lap, was beginning to move through the field, running 7th after Brambilla. At the flag, 3 seconds covered the first 3 cars. But it was the 4th finisher that captured the imagination. Niki Lauda's fight back from the burns that had led to him being given the last rites in Germany was a magnificent example of determination and heroism. The reception he received from the crowd and the track workers showed the respect in which he was held. The same respect was shown by members of the Ferrari team that met him when he drove his car back into the paddock. As the crowd thronged the track to salute the winners, the star of the day was the man who wasn't on the podium.
It's lights out and away we go. It's a decent start from Sebastian Vettel. Lewis Hamilton covers past Maldonado. An incredible battle here. Schumacher and Alonso, and then Senna, and then Webber, and then Raikkonen, and quite how anyone hasn't touched in the last lap and a half, I don't know. Alonso goes through on Michael Schumacher. Alonso moves past Di Resta and up into 4th place. Alonso has got a super little exit behind Romain Grosjean as they make their way down towards turn 1 and 2. Grosjean just in front of Alonso, who pulls out alongside. He's going to try and go around the outside, and they did touch, but Alonso has squeezed his way through into 2nd place.
And look at that, Vettel's going slowly.
And Vettel's got a major problem. Fernando Alonso leads. They are going absolutely wild in the stands here. Vettel could be out of this race. He is out of this race.
Fernando Alonso, you cannot keep this man down.
He started 11th and now leads this race. Fernando Alonso about to savour his 2nd win in Formula 1 in 2012 for his 19th victory in Formula 1 in front of his adoring Spanish fans, and comes home to win the Grand Prix of Europe.
In the emotional side, I think this is the best victory, because emotions that I felt in the in-lap or in the podium, I think is nothing to compare.
It should be blue skies, it should be blazing sunshine, it should be baking heat. I wouldn't like to be a driver in those conditions. Michael Schumacher will be going for his first win for Ferrari. Go! And Michael Schumacher has been left at the start. And Hill's off again. Damon Hill off again. And Schumacher goes through, passes Jean Alesi and moves up into 2nd place. And Schumacher is there with a clear track ahead of him, past Jacques Villeneuve, It is going to be an historic win for Schumacher, for Ferrari, and the first win ever for a Ferrari V10 engine. A quiet smile on the face of Jean Todt, and Michael Schumacher wins the Spanish Grand Prix.
The race began under the safety car, with everyone starting on full wet tyres. Spray was making visibility tricky, and on lap 8, Button and his McLaren teammate Lewis Hamilton collided as they battled for 6th place. Button pitted under the resultant safety car and opted for intermediate tyres, dropping him down to 12th spot. The race was suspended on lap 26 when a thunderstorm and torrential rain descended. After a 2-hour delay, there was another safety car restart, and Button was involved in a second collision, this time with Alonso, which took the Spaniard out of the race and saw a punctured Button pitting, emerging in last place. Undaunted and confident in his skills and the changing conditions, Jenson went on one of Formula One's greatest charges, cutting through the field and timing his switch to slicks perfectly to take advantage of the drying racing line. As Formula One's longest ever race entered its final minutes, he was sitting P4, but in the space of a few corners, passed both Mark Webber and Michael Schumacher and began closing the gap to race leader Sebastian Vettel. Bearing down on the Red Bull driver on the final lap, Button's pressure paid off as he forced the defending Vettel into a mistake and slipped through for an incredible and unlikely victory.
A fantastic race, and I think even if I hadn't won today I would have enjoyed this race immensely, but yeah, amazing win and possibly my best.
Ayrton Senna is a resident of Monaco. Perhaps that's why he's so popular with the crowd. He responded to their encouragement by taking yet another pole position. The onboard camera gives a superb insight to the man's talent, his lightning reactions keeping a small amount of air between his wheels and the hard Armco barrier lining this tough street circuit.
Ayrton Senna won his 29th pole position out of the last 36 Grand Prix, with the fastest lap ever recorded on this historic circuit. The McLaren covered 2 twisting and difficult miles in 1 minute 21.314 seconds.